So today I'm joined with Joe Norris from Get Your Tips Out, and today's video is about Cheltenham Racecourse betting tips. So Joe, obviously you've got a great track record over the years at the Cheltenham Festival in providing tips each day of the 5-day festival, but also throughout the year in like the November meeting and stuff like that. You always seem to do pretty well at this racecourse. So can you give a little bit of information about what you specifically look for when choosing horses, or a bit of information about the track and stuff like that, about specifically around Cheltenham Racecourse?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing I think we should touch on is that there are two courses. So you've got a new course and you've got an old course. Now, the old course is what they use throughout the early part of the season, through the autumn and into winter. And then when it comes to the festival, the old course is used on the first 2 days. Now, the old course is definitely a sharper track, so it sort of favours it. I wouldn't say it favours speed, because you still need stamina to win at Cheltenham, but it's definitely, compared to the new course, it's definitely a quicker track. So for me, I look more to horses that are sort of racing on the speed. I think especially up to sort of 3 miles, you want to be on the pace. Obviously, Cheltenham puts a big emphasis on jumping. If you get into a nice rhythm, I think on the old course and you're on the pace, that can be two good things to look for. Now, the new course is more tests your stamina. So, for example, on the hurdles course, there's only actually 2 hurdles they jump up the straight. So it definitely puts more emphasis on stamina. I think it's you get more horses, more jockeys that go for home too soon on the new course, and they sort of get reeled in up the hill. So you'll see more dramatic finishes, I think, on the new course than you do on the old course. So that's certainly 2 things to note when looking at Cheltenham.
So when you're choosing any tips then at Cheltenham Racecourse, do you specifically look for, obviously it's a left-handed track, it's an undulated track. Yeah. Do you think it literally is a case of it's horses for courses at this track? Are you looking for course and distance type form?
Oh, definitely. I think course and distance form is a big thing. Obviously, you've got the early meetings in the season. You've got the showcase meeting. You've got the November meeting, which is always a good meeting. You've got the New Year's Day meeting. So I think horses that have run well at those meetings can often go on to perform well at the festival. You've got the likes of sort of like stage star for Paul Nicholls, has done well throughout the season at Cheltenham. What was the horse last season that finished second to Grey Dawning? Trying to think now. Another Nicholls horse that ran really well at the November meeting, and then went on to the festival to run well. So I think course and distance form is definitely something you have to consider at Cheltenham. I mean, you want a horse that's going to stay the trip well, because it's sort of a track that doesn't take any prisoners really.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously the last half a mile is all uphill, so it needs someone that's going to stay the trip. Obviously, you're one that absolutely, I always see, you always seem to love to choose those horses that are stepping up in trip. But I suppose at Cheltenham, with regards to when you're looking for these handicap lots and stuff like that, you almost don't need to be stepping up in trip. You just need to make certain they can stay the distance that they've been running over, if you get what I mean. So do you specifically look out for that, or are you still looking for maybe horses that are stepping up in trip, even at Cheltenham, which is a very stiff, half a furlong uphill finish?
No, I think it's the opposite at Cheltenham, to be honest. Like they often tell you the Ballymore, which is the 2.5 mile race on the Wednesday, that you want you want a speed, because it's run on the different track. You want a horse that's got the speed to compete in that, because they need to be able to lay up with the early pace to finish the race. So there's a lot to. I mean, it's hard to say it without looking at the race, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That horse I was thinking of, by the way, was Genie's Destiny.
Yeah.
That finished second to Grey Dawning. Yeah, that was annoying me, so I had to search it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So with regards to, are you ever looking at, when you're looking at your tips for Cheltenham Racecourse, are you ever looking at specific jockeys that ride it, any trainers, or are you literally just looking at like the horse form, or if the trainers are in form at that specific time, or is there specific trainers and jockeys that you look for when choosing any specific selections for Cheltenham?
Not specifically. I think the cream sort of seems to rise at Cheltenham, doesn't it? Like the same trainers really have winners there. You know, Dan Skelton, Paul Nichols has been a bit hit and miss in recent years, but I feel like he has turned the corner a bit recently. So I think he will have a few winners this year. But obviously Mullins just dominates at any track. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing specifically I'm looking at, but at the same time, I do think the best of the best seem to flourish at that track.
Yeah, for sure. So we hope you like the video about Cheltenham Racecourse betting tips. If there's anything that you specifically look out for when you're choosing any lucky 15 bets or specifically each way bets in the big handicaps at Cheltenham Racecourse, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section.